As you know, our moderator was scheduled to bring the message today, and I talked with him about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. He's told me that he was going to be in Africa, and he was going to send his assistant. Well, we've been looking for her, and when we were called, and she said nobody told her.
All right, amen.
She has to speak at Mount Carmel, and so it's left up to me. I need much prayer. My good friend, Dr. Kendricks, I need much prayer.
All right.
Because I did not prepare.
That's all right.
Came to sit at the feet. Amen.
Amen. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Father God, bless them in the name of Jesus.
We also need to let you know that Minister Vickers is critical. He's at Columbia Presbyterian. So we need to keep him and his family in our prayers. Plan to go there after worship to see him. When they called, we were just getting off a plane on Tuesday, and Reverend Weaver and Deacon Williams went to see him. And so we ask that you would keep him in your prayers. Do we have a collation after? We have collation after? Are we up or down? We're upstairs, okay. Come and celebrate our 130th anniversary with us. And it was told King David, saying, the Lord hath blessed the house of Obed-Edom, and all that pertaineth unto him, because of the ark of the covenant, the ark of God. So David went and brought up the ark of God from the house of Obed-Edom into the city of David with gladness. And it was so that when they that bare the ark of the Lord had gone 6 paces, he sacrificed oxen and fatlings, and David danced before the Lord with all his might.
Amen.
And David was girded with a linen ephod. So David and all the house of Israel brought up the ark of the Lord with shouting and with the sound of the trumpet. And as the ark of the Lord came into the city of David, Michal, Saul's daughter, looked through a window and saw King David leaping and dancing before the Lord. And she despised him in her heart. I want to talk to you today briefly on the subject, it's time to celebrate. It's time to celebrate. One of the things that God told Moses to do after he had brought the children of Israel out of Egypt was to erect what is called a tabernacle. And the tabernacle was divided into 3 parts. The assembly of the community, the holy place, and the Holy of Holies. There was something that was placed in the Holy of Holies called the Ark of the Covenant. God gave Moses strict instruction on how to build the Ark of the Covenant. And the Ark of the Covenant was to symbolize to the children of Israel God's presence in their midst. I don't know if you understand the whole concept, but that's what our church buildings are supposed to symbolize in our community, that God is with us.
Amen. Amen.
Sometimes we think of the church as the building as just brick and mortar, but it is more than brick and mortar.
Yeah, right there.
It is a symbol of God's presence
Yes.
in our midst.
Yes, sir.
The Ark of the Covenant was a symbol of God's presence
Yes.
in the midst of Israel. Now, a few years ago, about 30 years ago, at the University of Michigan, they decided to build a replica of the Ark of the Covenant. And when they put it together according to the instructions found in the Holy Writ, it created such an electrical storm until they had to tear it down. Because the Ark of the Covenant represents the presence of Jehovah.
Preach.
The Ark of the Covenant represents
Yes, sir.
Lord God Almighty in the midst of His people.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Well, you know what has happened is that the Ark of the Covenant was taken by the Philistines in a time of war. And the interesting thing about it is that even though the Ark was taken by the Philistines, nobody in Israel went after the Ark. They let the Philistines have it.
Come on, man.
And in letting the Philistines have the Ark of the Covenant, what they ultimately did was to say to God, you defend yourself. Is that not what we're saying to God today? When we don't stand up and, and be counted because of what's going on in our nation and in our world, are we not telling God, you defend yourself? But let me tell you something, the God we serve is able to defend himself. I want you to understand that really, to tell you the truth, God does not need us. We need God. And even though the Ark of the Covenant had fallen into the hands of the enemy, and they had taken it back to Philistia, God began to work. God began to disturb the Philistines and created havoc in Philistia until the Philistines said, what's causing all of this commotion? And somebody said it happened when we brought the Ark of the Covenant into our midst. And they said, put it on a cart, get rid of it, send it out of our territory. Now, I'll tell you what I say, God can defend himself. God led that ox and cart.
That's right.
Until they came out of Philistia. And then the word came to King David, said, the Ark of the Covenant is no longer in the hands of the Philistines. You need to go and take it and bring it into Jerusalem. David goes and he takes the Ark of the Covenant in the same manner in which it was sent out of Philistia. It was on a cart drawn by oxen.
Yes.
And David and his soldiers began to lead that pair of oxen towards the holy city. And the wheel broke on that cart.
Fix it, Pastor.
And the Ark of the Covenant began to fall. And the soldier who was standing there had no better sense than to reach up to keep the ark from falling. And the moment his hands touched the ark, God struck him dead.
That's right. Come on now.
Now, let's be honest. Some of you think that God was unfair in striking that soldier dead. All that soldier was trying to do was to prevent the ark from falling.
Well,
But God said to David, don't you think I am capable of keeping myself from falling? I don't need any help from any. I'm God.
yeah.
All by myself. David became angry with the Lord for striking this soldier dead. And so David said, okay, let's leave the ark in the house of Obed-Edom. And he left the ark in the house of Obed-Edom, went back to Jerusalem. 6 months later, he got a report. Obed-Edom was being blessed.
All right.
I mean, blessed beyond measure. You see, what you need to recognize, when God is in your midst, God will bless you. God will keep you. Oh, I wish I had a friend. Never, never, never underestimate God.
Yeah.
The old folks used to say, he does not come every time he calls you calling, but when he does come, he's right on time. Have you ever experienced the power of God moving in your life? He's able. Tell your neighbor, God is able to keep himself from falling.
Glory to God.
Well, David got over his anger quickly and decided that he was going to go and get the ark. But this time,
Yes, sir.
he decided that he would do it according to the way Scripture said.
That's right. Come on,
To
Joe.
carry the ark.
Yeah.
But see, the ark symbolized the presence of God.
Uh-huh.
And on either side of the ark, there were 3 rings, golden rings. And a pole was to be taken through each of those rings on both sides. And the ark was to be carried by the Levites.
That's right.
By those who had responsibility for the upkeep of the tabernacle.
That's all right.
And as they picked up the ark on their shoulders and they began to move every 6 paces, David decided to offer a sacrifice unto the Lord. Lord, you've been good. Lord, you brought us. Lord, you protected us. Lord, you made a way for us. Lord, you fed us when we were hungry. Lord, oh yeah! And then it got good to me. You see, there are some folk who believe that shouting and all of the exuberance that we demonstrate is not necessary.
Well, come on.
You see, when you know your own story, where the Lord has brought you from, and you know what the Lord has brought you through, you know how the Lord has made a way for you, when it seems like there will be, you cannot help. But celebrate. The pastor for 130 years bother me when folk used to say to me, Reverend, you're just a little too emotional. You know, I remember the day when I first came, I used to take a handkerchief.
That's right.
Throw it up in the air and catch it. Somebody told me I was a little too emotional.
Well,
I remember the day I used to step over the rail. And I never failed. And somebody told me that, somebody says, you're too educated
well, come on.
to do that. This is Bethesda. And the pastor of Bethesda is not supposed to act like.
Well,
I'm not making it up. Somebody really did tell me. And if I told you who told me, you would know who told me. I ain't telling you. But you know what? I began to reflect upon this thing, you know, that you ought to be a little bit more urbane and sophisticated, less emotional, and a little more intellectual and academic. You know, I tried to preach those academic sermons. In my first church, I took a sermon and I put it together and I crossed every T and dotted every I. And I made sure that it was homiletically sound and academically right, so that they would know that I had gone to school. And when I finished and I was at the door shaking hands, Sister Ethel Banks, little Sister Ethel Banks, came through the line and said, well, that was a good sermon, one of those Colgate sermons, but it was a good sermon. And I began to think about it. When I was at my church in Daytona Beach, I had a professor in the congregation, Dr. Taylor, the first black to get his PhD from the University of California. And he was a part of our congregation. And I was doing a series on the 7 churches of Asia Minor, and I wanted to be intellectual, and I was quite intellectual. And then one day Dr. Taylor told me, he said, Reverend, we come to hear about Jesus. We don't want you to try to impress us with what you know. We need to know what Jesus has done for you. So Professor, let me tell you something. When you think about the goodness of Jesus and what he's done for you, you cannot just sit there like a nominal law. You got to raise your head, stomp your feet. It's time to celebrate. The Bible said that David was so excited that he danced. Now, you need to read the record. David did not become so excited that he danced, period.
That's right.
He became so excited that he danced before the Lord. You see, there's some folk who come say, I'm going to church to get my praise on. Well, if your praise guess he did. I know it wasn't a waltz. Could have been the twist. I don't know. But I just know that David was so caught up in the spirit, and he could not keep his peace. You know, there's some folk who have never, ever got caught up in the spirit. They're in our churches, on our boards, acting like they're leaders, but they never, ever got caught up in the spirit. When you get caught up in the spirit, you don't care what
Come on.
anybody says. You know, you just let it go. Now, don't be like that fellow who was a member of our church down in Florida years ago. Every time when we would take up the offering after the preaching, every time they took up the offering after preaching, he shouted all around the church during offering time. Y'all gonna get that pretty soon. And so we decided that this fellow always shouted during offering time. We decided to move offering from after the preaching to before the preaching. And he got mad. He left the church because we peeped his old car. There was a lady in a sister church in Daytona Beach, and she was a tremendous singer. I mean, she was one of the top. The officers called her in one day and said to her, "We've been going over our books, and we noticed you haven't given anything in the last 5 years." She said, "I don't give money. I give my service." They said, "Not here." She left there and went to the white church. You know she gave money at the white church. You see, when you're caught up in the Lord,
All right now.
you can't help yourself. In fact, David got so caught up in the Lord that he danced out of his clothes.
Yes.
Yeah. He danced until he became mad. His wife was looking at him from one of the windows and saw a king. The king dancing before the Ark of the Covenant. The king acting beneath his office. The king was supposed to be regal and royal, was acting like a common person, dancing in the streets. She did not see the Ark of the Covenant, even though it was visible. She did not know David's relationship with the God of the Ark of the Covenant, because she never read "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." She never read "The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof." She never read "I will lift up mine eyes unto the hill from whence cometh my help." She never read that the Lord God is in this place. You see, I want to say to all of the critics who say it doesn't take all of that. I understand where you come from. And I believe you're right. It doesn't take all of that until
Yes.
the Lord has brought you. And you cannot help but give him the praise. When the Lord brings you through some stuff, when your back has been up against a wall, there's no way out, and you're sure you're done for, and the Lord intervenes and steps out before you, and the water begins to fall. You can't help but celebrate. But that's what we need to celebrate. Don't listen to what the naysayers say. Celebrate. Don't give those who don't understand what the Lord has done for us. Don't give them an opportunity to talk. Keep all negative thinking folk at arm's distance. You need to celebrate. You need to celebrate the goodness of the Lord. You need to celebrate how the Lord has brought you. You need to celebrate. Somebody here ought to know what I'm talking about. Can you celebrate? Say yeah. Say yeah. Say yeah. I will. Bless the Lord at all times. And his praises shall continually be in my mouth. Ain't it all right? Ain't it all right? Say yeah. Say yeah. Give their lives to the Lord, life to the Lord Jesus Christ. We invite you to come now. Spirit.
I will shout like David shout. Spirit of the Lord is upon my life. I will shout like David shout.
Church, say amen. Let us listen to our church clerk.